Hey everyone, Erica with the K here. I'm hopping on today because it's been 2 years since my septoplasty and I wanted to address some questions that I get on my videos. So, for starters, a big one is that everybody's nervous about empty nose syndrome, which I had never heard about going into this. A lot of people are saying that my doctor just did my septoplasty because they want money and they didn't tell me about empty nose syndrome. And I've never met anybody who's gotten empty nose syndrome, and judging on the comments that I get on my videos, no one leaving those comments ever got empty nose syndrome. And then somebody put a statistic, I didn't do research to see if it's true, but it was like 20% of people get empty nose syndrome. I just want to say that my allergist, the one who was prescribing me my medication, my eye drops, my nose spray, the pill that I was taking, that person literally said, was there more? I also have an inhaler. It was an inhaler, eye drops, nose spray, and a pill. And they basically said, I can keep medicating you, but you're never going to get better if you don't get your septum fixed. They did not perform the septoplasty. They referred me to somebody else. So to say that these people are just looking to make money, I no longer have eye drops, nose spray, and I don't need to use my inhaler as much, and I also no longer take a pill. So I haven't even seen my allergist since I got my septoplasty. So to say that that was like a money grab seems crazy to me, because the person who referred me to get my septum done hasn't seen me since. Like, I went there one time and I no longer needed any of the medication. For anybody asking, does it improve your breathing? Yes, it does 100%. It's really painful when you have the things in your nose. I didn't have stents in my nose, but I did have it packed and it was very uncomfortable. I also didn't have a good reaction to I think it was Percocet. It kept me up all night and like I couldn't sleep. So I think it enhanced my feelings of discomfort. I think it enhanced my mental state of not being too, it wasn't a good effect for me. I wasn't like, oh, it was great because of the pain medicine. Like, I'd rather not take pain medicine. And moving forward, I had a prophylactic bilateral mastectomy and I had a hysterectomy, and I opted not to have any pain pills. I just said, like, can I just have Tylenol and Advil, because I just didn't have a good reaction to that. I have a very high pain tolerance, but the discomfort that I felt from my septoplasty was unbelievable. It's been the most uncomfortable thing I've had out of all my surgeries that I just listed. That was the most uncomfortable. As soon as they pull the packing out, it is way better, and you feel stuffy, like if you had allergies and you feel stuffy, but you don't feel the discomfort or the pain. My nose is like always in my way, so I have hit it recently and it's been fine. I actually think I got an elbow to the nose the other day in the pool and I was totally fine. But I do, in the beginning, like if I touched it like this, it felt very sensitive down here. So I had septoplasty and turbin. I never know how to say it. I also don't even know how it's spelled to pronounce it. It's either turbine or turbinate. I'm not sure. But those had to be burned in my nose. And so that was all part of the surgery. On my journey, my nose journey, I'm going to have the playlist linked, but on that journey, I talk about how I did not have rhinoplasty. And one of the main comments I get is like, okay, we get it. You didn't have rhinoplasty. I want people to know that I had septoplasty. I didn't have rhinoplasty, not because I don't believe in cosmetic procedures. I think cosmetic procedures are amazing and I totally support it. I just wanted people to know my journey that I was on, my recovery that I was on, and also I had a crooked nose going into it, and I still have a crooked nose now. So if people were mistaken thinking that I had rhinoplasty, it would just seem like a botched nose job, and that's not what happened. I didn't get it done for cosmetic reasons. So that's going to bring me to my next point. Let me just make sure I got all my points out first before I go to my next point. I also just woke up, and that's why I look a little puffy here, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm just going to touch on that again. So my allergies are so much better. Do I still occasionally sneeze? Yeah, of course. Do my eyes still get occasionally red and irritated? Yes, of course. But do I sneeze up to like 40 to 100 times a day still? No. It was so bad that my husband, who I called to make all his doctor's appointments, he called to make my appointment because he was like, we can't live like this. This is, how are you? And I was always tired. I was fatigued, because when you're putting so much energy into sneezing all the time, it's tiring. And when you have something that's constantly like causing like pressure here, it's tiring. So it has helped with that too. It definitely helped with my breathing. I notice it a lot when I work out. I didn't know what breathe through your nose meant. That didn't make sense to me prior to this. I was always a mouth breather. I was always like the kid from Hey Arnold. So I didn't know what breathe through your nose meant. Like when people would say that, I'm like, I'm not really sure what you're saying because that's not how I breathe. Now I understand what it means. It has definitely helped. Okay, so then on to my next thing, talking about rhinoplasty versus septoplasty. Somebody had commented on one of my videos talking about my septoplasty journey and said, I'm getting this done. I have a crooked nose. Is it going to straighten my nose out? And I said, no, not at all. And then somebody different commented and said, yes, of course it will straighten your nose. And we went back and forth on this because I was like, you would think that, but that's not the case because I'm living proof that your nose doesn't get straightened out. You can see my nose is not straight. And they were like, okay, don't worry. We don't think that you had rhinoplasty. And just implying that I'm being dishonest with my answer because I don't want people to think I had rhinoplasty. I don't want people to think I had rhinoplasty because I didn't have rhinoplasty and that's not my recovery journey. And my videos are meant to be informative. So I don't want to mislead you. I also heard that rhinoplasty is incredibly painful because they like break the bones in your nose to straighten it out. I didn't have that. So I think that it's important to say that. When I went to the doctor, my surgeon that I went to, I remember he was hitting my nose like this. And he's like, I think I've said this in a video. And he's like, your nose is crooked. And I was like, yeah, I know. And he's like, how do you know that? Because it's not, I think you can see very much in this video. And if I put a hi-hat on, you can see because anything that causes shadows on my nose, you can just see how crooked it is. Like you can see it here. You see how it's crooked? So he's like, how do you know that? And I was like, well, I'm a makeup artist. So I notice features. I notice when things are slightly off. I notice details on faces. That's like one of the things I notice. Like if you got Botox, I'd be the first one to be like, oh, you did something different. Even if it's the most subtle thing. I notice stuff like that because I'm in the industry. That's the only reason why. So my nose wasn't like severely crooked. So I said to my surgeon who was performing my septoplasty, I was like, is my nose going to be straighter? Because honestly, I would love for my nose to be straighter. And he said, no, not unless you get rhinoplasty. And we don't do rhinoplasty here, but I could refer you to somebody for that. And I said, I was like, well, is that going to change the way I breathe? Because I'm most concerned about my breathing. I'm most concerned about my allergies more than the aesthetic part. I'm a makeup artist. I could always do shadows on my nose and make it look less crooked. And also, like, I'm so used to seeing myself like this that I don't know what it would be like if I didn't have a crooked nose. Like, especially, I just have to say this, I'm getting sidetracked, but especially because my nose is crooked it's not like if I do this, it straightens it out because now it's on this side of my face. It's like crooked up here. So anyway, so he said to me, it's not gonna straighten out your nose. And I went into this thinking like, of course it is because you're changing the inside of my nose. And I think that's kind of the comment that the person had said, like, of course it is, it's straightening out your septum. And it's like, yeah, like towards my brain, maybe like up here, it might be straightening it out. But even over here, it doesn't straighten it out. I still look like I have a foot nose. So I just wanted people to understand because even though my surgeon told me it wasn't going to straighten out my nose, I was like, it's going to straighten out my nose, obviously. And I remember the day I came home and I saw my mom. It wasn't the day I came home. It was right after I got the bandages off. And my mom was like, let me see your new nose. And she panicked and she looked at my husband and was like, her nose looks the same. It looks the same. She didn't understand. And it's like, yes, my surgeon told me it's going to look the same. And even though I ignorantly thought there's no way it's going to look the same because you're straightening out my septum, that has nothing to do with the cosmetic look of your nose. And so the person said, if your nose is very wonky, which we can tell they're definitely in the medical field, because if your nose is very wonky, it'll straighten out your nose. And I do not believe that is the case. I believe that rhinoplasty would have to take place with it. From my experience, it did not straighten out my nose. My nose is still crooked. It goes to the side and then it comes back this way and it's very bulbous over here. And you can see how that goes. And from this way, I look like I have a foot nose. I can breathe totally fine and everything is fine. It does not straighten out your nose unless you get rhinoplasty as well. And the surgeon I went to didn't perform both. So I would have had to have gone to somebody else. But I actually really liked the surgeon that I was referred to. And so I decided to go with it. I'm also like, I have a high pain tolerance, but I'm also like very afraid of things. So everything I get is medical, not because I judge that on somebody else. I wish that I wasn't so afraid of procedures because I would have taken advantage of cosmetic procedures. I'm just afraid of stuff like that. So as a whole, my breathing is much better. It's been 2 years since my surgery. My breathing is so much better. My allergies, I only have to take a Zyrtec whenever I feel like it, as opposed to taking a pill every day, eye drops every day, having my inhaler during allergy season, and having to do eye drops. I don't have to do any of that. I haven't seen my allergist since. I do want to go see my allergies for other allergies that I have, but none related to this area of my face. I do know how to breathe through my nose now. When I'm working out is when I mostly notice it. I do talk a lot, so I don't even know if I ever give myself a chance to like breathe through my nose. As I had said, I did just wake up, so I am a little bit like congested here, but not in a way that I used to be. Like I would not even be able to like do anything. I do still occasionally get like seasonal allergies in like my eyes. I get itchy, I get a runny nose still, but nothing compared to what I used to get. There's no more sneezing like hundreds of times a day. Did not straighten out my nose. I want to make that clear. Septoplasty will not straighten out your nose. You need rhinoplasty to get your nose cosmetically straightened, and I did not have that. My recovery was very uncomfortable, painful, but I don't think it's anywhere near how uncomfortable and painful rhinoplasty is from what I've heard. I have a very high pain tolerance, and that was my worst recovery out of all the surgeries that I've had. And I don't know of anybody who's had empty nose syndrome. I do not think my allergist and my surgeon were working in cahoots to get me to get a septoplasty surgery to then get me on the money of it, because my allergist could have just kept me on medication forever. I think that would have been more financially beneficial to him. I'm going to take this camera. I'm going to go into a different light so you can see how crooked my nose is. So just come with me. And that'll be the end of the video. So if you don't care to see that, oh, you could see it here. Yeah, it did not straighten out my nose. You can totally see it here. But this is where I took a lot of the pictures of my before and afters. So I don't know, can you see it? It's not only crooked, it's like off-centered. Let me get better lighting. Hold on. Let me just walk around. Oh, here, that's always a good one. Let me just walk around my room and see where I can get you the best lighting to see how crooked my nose is. Oh, my bed's not even made. Oh, there we go. That was a good one. Yeah. So that's my nose. I'm going to insert a picture of my grandmother on my mom's side. I was always told, look at my nose. I was always told that a paint can hit her in her face and that's why her nose was crooked, but she wound up getting cosmetic surgery to fix it. Then I saw a picture of her years later because I was young. I never saw her with a nose like this, but I heard about it. And I was like, that's my nose. Like, I don't think she was hit in the face with a paint can. I think that's just what people say when they don't want to admit that they just have a crooked nose. So yeah, I don't know. I have gotten like a softball to my nose one time, and there were a few things that had hit my nose in my life. Well, I don't know why I'm just walking around my house right now, but anyway, I think I just have a crooked nose. So anyway, I love you guys. I hope that this video helps. Recovery really sucks, but only until those things are taken out of your nose because it's very uncomfortable. It's hard to breathe, and you don't want to do any straining, so you don't want to lift anything or anything like that when you're in recovery for like the first month or two. I healed really fast, so I don't think that my results are typical. But ask your surgeon. They should be really transparent with you about everything. If they tell you it doesn't hurt, they're lying. Well, I think they're lying because a lot of people wrote comments on my videos saying that it doesn't hurt. Good for you. I hope it doesn't hurt you. And that's my video. Okay. If there's any other questions that you have, you can leave them on this video and I will definitely respond. If you want to check out my other videos, I'll have them linked. I think I have it linked earlier in the video. Okay. Love you. Bye.